Hello and welcome back to World 360. In 2018, the world saw the onset of a trade war between the first and second largest economies, China and the US. Both countries slapped tariffs and non-trade barriers on each other in critical sectors like automobiles, agricultural products, and others. But today, we're seeing a new phase of this economic conflict, a chip war. These days, most of our digital products like mobile phones, smartphones, cameras, TVs, washing machines, refrigerators, LED bulbs, and even some vehicles use a particular material known as a semiconductor. A semiconductor is basically a material that lies between a conductor and an insulator. It helps manage the flow of electric current in electronic equipment and devices, making it a crucial component in several gadgets. At one point in time, American company Intel dominated the semiconductor industry. But of late, South Korean and Taiwanese firms have emerged as top players. China's largest chip maker, Semiconductor Manufacturing International Co., or SMIC, which is currently sanctioned by the US, has also emerged as a global player in the industry. Now, the worldwide shortage of semiconductors began in the first half of 2020 due to the pandemic. It continues to hurt some of the world's biggest tech and auto companies like Apple, Nokia, and Volvo, who have had to scale back their production targets. In contrast, it gave countries like China and Taiwan, home to major chip makers, an edge. Now, economically decoupling from China is a daunting task, which some experts say is close to impossible to do. But since the shortage of semiconductors continues to persist in the world, it appears the US has been forced to look inward. On Wednesday, in a major move, the US Senate approved a $280 billion bill called the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022. Now, the bill aims to boost the US's domestic semiconductor industry to counter the competitive threat posed by China. According to US President Biden, it will accelerate the manufacturing of semiconductors in America, lowering prices on everything from cars to dishwashers. If we look at the text of the bill, China is mentioned about 11 times and mostly in the context of caution. One clause explicitly mentions, in fact, a company of the People's Republic of China may not participate in the Manufacturing USA program without a waiver. Manufacturing USA is a program that was created in 2014 with the aim to secure US global leadership in advanced manufacturing. Now, under this program, there are Manufacturing USA institutes that usually convene business competitors, academics, and others to test applications of new technology, create new products, and enable the manufacturing workforce. It's interesting to note that Taiwan, home to the largest chip manufacturer, TSMC, has not been explicitly mentioned in the US bill. This is probably because the US sees Taiwan as more of a partner instead of a competitor in this industry. Taiwan has also been approached to join the US's Chip 4 alliance, which would include South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan as a strategic alliance of top chip makers to counter China. Also, it's important to mention that a few days before the Senate passed the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022, China's SMIC reportedly made a breakthrough by creating a 7-nanometer technology. Currently, semiconductor firms rely on 14-nanometer technology, but 7-nanometer can produce faster and more efficient chips. It has also been observed that despite US sanctions, China's SMIC recorded a surge in profit last year. Perhaps this bill seeks to counter this rise too. Now, let's not forget that the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022 is not a law yet. It's expected to be approved by the House of Representatives in the US by the end of this week. And though the Senate approved the bill with a 64-33 vote, getting it passed in the House of Representatives may be a task. There are many Republican senators who see the bill as reckless government spending, given the Biden administration already spent over $1 trillion in a COVID-19 relief package last year. Take Senator Rick Scott from Florida, who has argued that while the intention of the bill is maybe commendable, there isn't enough fiscal space to back it up. In a letter to members of the US House of Representatives on 27 July, Scott said, "Our nation is 33 trillion US dollars in debt, and this bill spends $280 billion that we don't have. Before we conclude, I would urge you to check out our Chinese expert Adil Bra's piece on this chip war, which explains how the semiconductor industry has become so politicized that poaching and espionage has also become a common phenomenon. Thank you so much for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for The Print. Do subscribe to The Print and follow us on social media.